Hello friends, I'm here with a reading update. I'm starting with Jar of Hearts, which is this one. I got this from Jessie for my birthday, and I'm just reading them in publication order. I mean, why not, right? Started with this one, and I just woke up from a big nap, but I started reading before I went to bed, and I made it to page 39, like chapter 5 is where I stopped. And dude, this is dark. I had no idea, and I really do not know where it's going, but it starts with this woman named Geo from, like, Georgina is her name, but I guess people call her Geo. She is on trial, or she's not on trial, she's testifying against someone, but she also was like involved. She cut up, or not her, but she saw this guy cut up her best friend and knew where she was for 14 years before she was eventually found. What? And then, so she goes to jail, and I guess they're renovating part of the jail or something. So she's like in this large room, like general population, in this maximum security prison. And her bunkmate rapes her. Like finger rapes her. And then like this other lady says, hey, if you want me to take care of it, I'll take care of it. And then kills the lady that raped her. I mean, what? And I'm only not even 40 pages into this. Are you kidding me? Good morning, friends. I'm tired, as you can probably see. I did read a little bit more last night. I read a couple more chapters. I was on chapter 5. Now I'm on chapter 9. Haven't made it very far into this. I find that some weekends I read a bunch, and other weekends I don't read anything. So anyway, I am enjoying this so far. It's very twisted and dark. I wasn't really sure, and I'm still not really sure where the story is headed, but it did a time jump of like 5 years, and it seemed like it changed perspective, or it did change perspective. So I'm finally here with a reading update of Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier, and I also noticed that my friend Haley did an author ranking video for this author, and I put it on my watch later list because I don't want to be influenced, of course, while I'm reading some of her books, but I will have that video linked down below so you can find someone else that reads this author and what they think, so there's another opinion out there. But anyway, I made it pretty far. I'm on page 199, chapter 23, and I probably normally would have been finished with this book by now because you just want to keep reading to find out what's going on, but it's just been a very busy time, and I haven't had time to dedicate to reading. I've had to do other things. Even this morning I woke up, it's new episode Monday on Talk Bookish to Me, so I promoted the new episode. Then I had to start working on birthday cards for my book club. So I addressed a whole bunch of birthday cards and got those ready to send out later this week. And now my husband and I are going on a hike, so that's why I'm already like ready and stuff. But yeah, so me, my husband, and Charlie are going on a hike today. After that, we'll probably grab some lunch and watch a movie, and then hopefully I'll get time to finish this today, because I really would like to finish this today so I can start the next one. And plus I really want to see what's going on. There's not like too much left, so I'm like OMG about it. here reading Jar of Hearts. I made it to chapter 25, and just be warned that this book has a lot of trigger warnings. This guy Calvin has raped 2 girls, like young girls, and and it does describe the rapes. Also, he killed her best friend and chopped her up. And yeah, it's just dark and twisted. It's like, it almost reminds me of like what people say like Karen Slaughter books are. Like, maybe this is like that. But I've only read 1 Karen Slaughter book successfully. But this is really dark. And there's 2 more bodies. And yeah, so things are going down. I have, let's see, I'm on page 221. And there's 305 pages. So less than 100 pages to go. Though my books are all standalones, they're set in the same semi-fictional Pacific Northwest world that I've been writing about since my first novel. Oh, so she does crossover characters. It says, which is why characters from older stories will pop in a new book to say hello. If you've read any of my earlier novels, you'll recognize places like the Sweet Bay neighborhood, the Puget Sound State University, and the Green Bean Coffee Shop, which are all invented, and hooray for that because people get murdered in Sweet Bay. All right, I just finished Jar of Hearts, and this book is crazy. Like, literally the last chapter before the epilogue, I was just like, the whole time, it's crazy. Like, this is why I love thrillers. I am just shocked at how much I enjoyed this. It's definitely like a 4 or 5 stars. I'm definitely thinking like 5 stars, like one of my all new favorite thrillers. I mean, I'm definitely recommending this if you can get past like the rape and the death and the cutting of bodies and like graphic scenes like that. It's so dark and twisted. I like how there's like the passage of time and there's a little bit of layering of the past and the present, and like a time jump, like when she's on trial, she's going to jail, and then she's in jail, and then like 5 years after when she gets out of jail. And it goes back to her friendship with Angela and Kaiser, and oh my gosh, and like Calvin and like everything that happened. And there, obviously it's a thriller, so there's like twists and reveals and stuff like that, but it is just freaking wild. Friends, I'm here with a reading update. I started reading Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier last night, but first I need to catch you up on my final thoughts of the other book. I thought I would touch base with you guys again on Jar of Hearts by Jennifer Hillier. I finished this last night and it is just wow. I don't know if it's because like I haven't been reading thrillers in a while, but I was just engaged from start to finish. I never wanted to put it down. I just always had to do other things. But I'm so glad I was able to finish it yesterday. It sits right at like 302 pages, so it's a quick read anyway, and you're just gonna want to read to find out what happens. But it does deal with some like dark themes and topics and content warnings and all of that, from like body dismemberment to rape to children being strangled to death to all of those things. So definitely, like, you know, think about if you're going to be able to stomach this. I talked to someone last night on Jesse's Sprints, and she said that she read this and she enjoyed it, but she couldn't pick up another book for a while because she was just like so disturbed. But I like that it got that dark. I like that it went there, and I liked the pacing. I liked how there were, all of the characters were bad. I liked how you just never knew like what direction it was gonna go. And another thing is, I didn't read the synopsis. I think I just picked it up based on like Jesse's and Haley's recommendations. And I'm so glad that I did, because, and I'm glad I didn't read the synopsis. I don't think it like spoils anything, but just in thrillers in general, the less you're able to know going in, the better. And I just thought everything was done really well, and ended up rating this 5 out of 5 stars. But I will try to link my written review down in the description box. Then after I finished this, I joined Jesse's Sprints and I started Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier, obviously. And I read like, I want to say around 60 pages on the sprints, and then after that I made it to chapter 15, page 157. So I am officially on part 2 now, and I'm also really enjoying this one. I will say initially this one is darker and more disturbing because it's about a woman that helped her boyfriend like dispose of her best friend. So they killed her best friend, or the boyfriend killed her best friend, and they chopped her up in pieces and buried her in the woods. So yeah, it's a little dark and disturbing. But in this one, you have a mother that is out Christmas shopping with her son, and she lets go of his hand. He's like 4 years old. She lets go of his hand for a moment to send a text, and then all of a sudden her son is gone. And it happened in like 4 seconds or something like that. So obviously very heartbreaking, and very like, you know, if you have a young child and that's one of your fears, I wouldn't necessarily read this book. That's kind of like what the first few chapters are about. But then obviously there is a little bit of a time jump. But there are content warnings for obviously kidnapping. There's content warnings for cheating. I know a lot of people don't like when like spouses cheat, you know, in books and stuff, and there's cheating in this book. Also suicidal thoughts, and talk about being like infertile and IVF and things like that. Those were also themes and topics mentioned in here. So I'm wondering if the author like has dealt with that herself, or if she knows someone that's close to her who has, because they're not like heavily focused on, they're just like touched on. It's not like the theme of the book, but they're definitely explored in here. So interesting to note. But yeah, so this one is just about this woman who, her son gets kidnapped, and obviously she's devastated, and yeah, like what happens after that. I made it to chapter 25, and I just have a little bit left to go. I'm not enjoying this one as much, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, it's not boring, but there's definitely like lulls, and it's not as dark as Jar of Hearts was, and it's more about the cheating than it is about her missing son. Like I said, there's definitely content warnings, you know, suicidal thoughts, things like that, but it's more about the cheating. And I think that I just kind of need to lay it out there. Basically, because of their missing son, the couple, Marin and Derek, Derek starts cheating on Marin. And I guess he has this mistress that's much younger than his wife. And that's been going on for, I think, 6 months or something like that. And she ends up finding out about it. And then it seems like, I don't know, it's just more about that. And you even get like points of view or chapters from like his mistress's point of view and like what she's doing. And I don't know, it's more about that than it is the missing kid. And I'm in it for the missing kid. Like, what happened? Where did this kid go? What does that have to do with anything else that's going on? So I am interested to find out like where it's gonna go and stuff like that. But I would probably say if I had to rate it right now, it would be like a 3 stars. Bomb was just dropped in my book. Last time I checked in, I was on chapter 25. So I was on page 252. And now I'm on page 273. So like in those 20 pages, a bomb was dropped and it changes everything. All right, friends, it's official. I finished Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier and I'm rating the story 3 out of 5 stars. I did really enjoy it. The ending was really good. I had no idea where it was gonna go, but I'm glad I kept reading. It's not that I was necessarily bored per se, but Jar of Hearts was compulsively readable. I just had to know what was happening next. And in this one, I was just kind of along for the ride. I went into this one assuming that it was going to be more focused on the kidnapping or disappearance of her son, since that's what the book opens up with. But then it very quickly changes into this cheating timeline. And not that that really bothers me per se, I just didn't care. It all seemed very believable, you know, two like happily married people that lose their son after more than a year. They drift apart and, you know, need to find solace elsewhere. Not that I'm condoning those actions, I'm just saying that seems believable to me. The back burner storyline was that their son was kidnapped or taken. Is he alive? Is he dead? Who has him? Who took him? Why aren't we able to find any leads? That sort of thing. But it was much more focused on the cheating, and she actually hired a private investigator to find out, like, when the FBI couldn't find anything else about her son, it kind of turned into like a little bit of a cold case, and they had to look for other missing children. She hired a private investigator and she basically said, leave no stone unturned. I need to know everything that you find out. And one of the things that the private investigator uncovers is that he's having an affair. So she knows that he's having an affair. She downloads this little app, it's called the Shadow app, where she can get text message. Since it's linked with her account, she can get all of the text messages that he got from that phone number. And she was seeing that, yes, he is having an affair and all of this. And it just kind of takes it on that route for a very long time. I mean, the back burner is always there, like what happened to their son, but it's much more focused on the cheating and why is this girl doing this and just kind of everything like that. There was that part at the end of like 26, I was like 30 pages away from the end, that I was just like, did I read that right? I was kind of starting to suspect it, but it wasn't until I got to that chapter that I started suspecting something. And then I was like, oh, oh my gosh. So I really do like where it ended up, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. So for this author taste test, I read Jar of Hearts and I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. I read Little Secrets and I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. So I think it's safe to say that I'm definitely interested in picking up more Jennifer Hillier's books. I'm not sure which ones I want to pick up. I know that Haley just did that author ranking video, and I know she has like Creep and Freak, which I am interested in those, but The Butcher, Wonderland, and I think those are the only ones that she has out. But I will double check. If you've read any Jennifer Hillier, let me know your thoughts. This one was much more dark, but this did have a lot of content warnings as well. I think both of these are good for beginners. I think if you're a beginner thriller reader, these are definite good picks. But that wraps up this reading vlog, this author taste test of reading Jennifer Hillier. Like I said, I plan to look at the book exchange next time I go. It's not going to be for a while, but when I go, I want to keep my eyes out for other books by her. But that's all for this author taste test. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down in the comment section down below. I will try to link both of my written reviews in the description box if I remember. If I don't and you're really interested, just like remind me and I'll put them down there. But yeah, I hope you're having a lovely day or night, and I'll see you guys again in another video very soon. Bye guys.